So welcome everyone to today's last session. And I love it because Lisa has been on like multiple times. We just match really, really well. I love the work she does in this world. So we're going to continue to talk about that in deeper way. So hi, Lisa, welcome once again. It is so good to have you.
Oh, thank you, Sigrid. I love to be here with you and your community. I'm excited to join you all again.
Yeah. So can you start with sharing a little bit for the people who do not know you yet? Like, who are you and what is it what you do on this planet?
Yes, of course. So, excuse me, I am the founder of Akashic Knowing School of Wisdom. And really, my greatest intention is to share the Akashic record guidance with humanity so that because it is everyone's birthright to actually have access to their Akash, to their soul's plan, to be able to understand who they are, that is my mission in a huge sort of way. And so we'll talk a lot more about that. I have been working in the energy healing realms for, oh heavens, I hate to date myself, over 30 years, and really have been intensely bringing the Akashic records back by writing. I've got 2 books out, 3rd book should be out in the spring, and just really sharing this profound ancient wisdom of the Akashic records.
I love it. I mean, you're so gifted and talented, and I so love and enjoy your energy as well. So it's like, it's a good cocktail. I just spoke about you. I think it was in my Q&A about Akashic Records. I said, if you want to learn that, go to her, like really allow her to guide you. And so I always share about you. But let's talk about how do we access that? How do we come into alignment with our soul's plan? Can you share more about that?
Yes, absolutely. So what the Akashic record keepers, and let me just kind of go back and do my quick version of what the records are, just in case someone's new and isn't sure what that really means. So each and every one of us has our own Akashic record library and our own librarians. And in that library is the recording of your soul's journey through all lives, all time space continuum, here on Earth and in other planes, dimensions, planets. And so we truly are infinite souls with so many experiences and so many gifts and talents. So when we come back to Earth, each time we say, what do I want to do this time? And so we write a whole plan, and that plan includes the people that we want to love and support. So that could be your parents, your siblings, your children, your spouses, your best friends, sometimes your business partners. And so we have these soul contracts that we write in our plan. We have gifts and talents we want to share with humanity. And of course, we really come to learn and grow as a soul. So in that plan, we say, I want to experience this challenge so I can learn about that. And really our soul's plan is to learn and understand some of these human experiences and emotions so deeply that we can help other people understand them also. So instead of looking at things like our challenges or our karmic patterns as a negative, if we can kind of look at it from the view of the Akashic record keepers, and they say, your soul chose this to grow so that you could share the gifts you learn from the growth with others. And so as we awaken to all these different aspects of who we are and what we planned, what we came to do, including our purposes and our gifts and talents, then we can really align now so that we can create the life that our heart and soul desires, so that we can go forward in these next 9 years. We're in a new 9-year cycle, creating our new Earth.
And so can you share, because I love it that you say like we're in a new cycle. What is the meaning of this cycle? What is the potent energy available? And how does that connect to us aligning with our purpose, us aligning with our soul? How does that like elevate each other?
Right. So we have huge cycles, right? If we look at some of the bigger, the 26,000 year cycle that we literally just completed. And so now we're starting a new 26,000 year cycle. But of course, there's little tiny cycles within. There's bigger ones. You know, we've got 6,000 year cycles, we've got 9-year cycles. And so right now we've just finished that 2012 to 2021, where we were kind of ripping things up and saying all of this old stuff needs to go. And now from 2022 until 2030, we are really truly stepping into creating the new earth. And so it's important that we are conscious of creating the new human and the new paradigm and rebalancing the world. And so there's huge important aspects of the divine feminine finally coming to a place of awareness, and then being able to step in to balance the masculine and the feminine instead of being suppressed by the old masculine energies. So there's quite a few different aspects that we're looking for, big soul contracts even. There's lots of people who have the soul contract to help balance masculine, feminine, divine feminine, as well as big soul contracts to end abuse on the planet and to really transform and heal our mother, our Gaia. And so this is the time to do it this year and on for the next, well, this 9-year cycle, so that we really have created that strong foundation. And then the cycle after that will be living and expanding all around the planet.
And so how do you know what is your contract? How do you know? Like, how do you know your gifts and what your contract is? Like, are there like keys, or like you can already notice it, or do you really need to go into the Akashic Records? Like, what is the way to access all of that?
Well, you know, what I would say is that for most of us, actually accessing the Akashic Records is the easy way, because you can have a whole conversation with your own personal Akashic guides, your own record keepers, and you can ask very specific questions. So sometimes I do Akashic business consultations for people around their business. Is it in my highest and best, you know, alignment for my business to hire this person or work with this partner or do this program? And so all the different questions. I work with someone in Europe who occasionally will ask about like properties. Sometimes people will come to me and say, is it in, I have realtors who want to know about, is this property in my highest and best interest, right? So we can get some very, very specific information, including, strangely, some marketing information in alignment to us. So for me, being able to access your own records and have that conversation on an ongoing level, right? Learning this empowerment tool so that you can open your records every day and say, hey, is it really in my highest, you know, good to work with this person or to be on this summit or to, right, do whatever it is. To heal, to end this soul contract, to keep working on this soul contract. I have lots of clients who come to me around kind of ending soul contracts. And I find that most people have concern around it, right? And as we should, right? Because these are other people and our hearts and their hearts sometimes that, you know, may be broken in the process. But it's fascinating when people come and say, is my soul contract with my spouse complete? Have I learned the lessons? Is there anything else to do? Am I to remain in this relationship or is this relationship done? And I know that often we kind of worry about creating more karmic patterns, and it's not a bad idea to think about all of those. How do my actions affect others around me? And it's also fascinating to see that many people have struggled in a relationship that energetically was complete 3 years ago or 10 years ago. And so having really direct access to your own wisdom, to be able to ask specific questions and get specific answers, to me is real, true empowerment.
And also, I know, like, what I love is that you can't just tap into, like, for example, soul contracts, because that sometimes has a little like negative, not really, but you know what I mean? It has that thing, but you can actually also open all of your gifts. Can you talk into that? Because I love that, out of past experiences, past lifetimes, you can actually open the box and get to access your gifts. So share a little bit more about that.
Yes, absolutely. So, of course, when we write that plan, we say, what gifts and talents have I honed over these last, whatever, 400 lifetimes here on Earth that I would like to share now? And we bring a bunch of them with us, and not just one, which is why I always say we have multiple purposes, not just one purpose. And so, one of our purposes could be to be a parent, and one of our purposes could be to be a communicator and or a healer, maybe an inventor, a teacher, right? There are so many aspects that we bring with us, and most of us bring 3 to 6 different gifts and talents that we want to share with humanity. And so I think it's important that people realize we're not just searching for like kind of one thing. We haven't screwed up if we aren't sure what our purpose is, because the truth is that often your purpose is the easiest thing in the world to you. Right? It is the gift that you have embodied so fully. You think whatever it is you do is just average and normal. And, I laugh at myself, and I imagine that you have some of the same, Sigrid, because our gifts of communication about our gifts and some of what we teach, and the aspect of being able to connect into these divine realms and channel wisdom for other people. Sometimes it seems so normal that you're right, that we forget that it's a gift.
Also flipping the switch between being a mother of 4 and then going into my office and like, oh, now I'm the channel. Like, it's like, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So most of us are aware on some levels, often not as conscious as could be useful. But again, I think that many of us know on some level what our gifts and talents are, because they are those things that come easy. And then to me, accessing your Akashic Records can dive deeper into those aspects. And maybe how do I use those or share them in a bigger way? What else can I know about that? Or can I deepen that gift or that wisdom? And so still using your records, even when you're like, I know I'm a healer. A lot of times a client will come and they say, I think maybe I'm a healer, but I'm not sure. And often we feel a little insecure about the things that feel big to us or unusual to us.
I see this a lot.
And
so
so
I would love for you to speak into this a little bit more with people with gifts, multidimensional gifts, and with people who want to write a book.
Oh, yes.
It's like those two things seem to be like big chunks, which people desire. And there's simultaneously a lot of resistance why they're not stepping in. Can you share a little bit more about that? Maybe you know more about that.
Absolutely. Yes. And those could be really fun things to do some processes and some clearing and healing around. Because what I notice is that often when we have a fear or concern about stepping more fully into all of our multidimensional gifts, whether it's healing or seeing or channeling, whatever it might be, it's because we have been persecuted in a variety of different lifetimes for sharing those gifts. And so it's very useful to go back and to clear the emotional pain, to clear the trauma, to clear the old death pictures of being killed for being a healer, or for speaking our truth, or for being just a little too multidimensional and getting locked in an asylum. I mean, there's so many lives and so many versions of that. And so it's just not unusual that so many of us, or even I'm going to say most of the healers I know, have had to go through processes of clearing the pain and then kind of reclaiming the gifts. And we do this in kind of that energy that feels a bit like ebb and flow, but we need to clear space to receive more energy. Then we clear another layer of space or clear more pain so we can receive more of our gifts. So often people who are healers or seers or channels, any multidimensional sort of gifts, it is really useful for us to have these kinds of abilities to clear and fill up again, to clear and receive more of that energy and that information. So that's a big, big piece, I think, for most of us, because even if we can see, even if we kind of know we have these gifts, between the fear and the fact that we haven't anchored them into the body yet, both of those affect our ability to step more fully into that gift. It activates all of our doubt and our, fear of being seen or killed. So we can do a little bit of work around that. And then books, what I find so often is that people feel that you have to be someone special, whatever that means to them, that you have to be, I don't know, someone else, not them, right? To write a book. And I even remember really clearly having that experience myself many years ago when the record keepers really started talking to me kind of in this big way of saying things to me like, write a book. And I had 3 babies. And, I basically considered myself, this lady in the suburbs with kids, even though I was channeling the Akashic Records. And I had a little healing center in my area, but I still basically was like, but I'm a mom, right? Just, right, like you say, it's like, who am I to do this? Who am I to write a book? And the first book I actually wrote was and channeled, it was called How Swami Mommy Survived Suburbia. So back then, this is 30 years ago almost, my the name I used was Swami Mommy because I was very much in that mother energy and realm and suburbs. And I spent most of my days with 3 babies going to playgroups and parks and such. Anyway, so actually writing that and getting it out, it was like, oh, it's never been published, but I had to channel that first and deal with all of my doubt of who am I to write a book? And then I realized that through that process, that I have a gift and an ability to channel books. And so after that, I've channeled 4 more books. Like I say, 2 are published. One will be out this spring and the other one hopefully following, next year, later in the year. So it really is true that we are really ancient, wise souls, and many of us have come to be communicators of wisdom for humanity. And that means write your book.
Yeah, and also what you say is like, you don't need to feel a writer, be the perfect, like, it doesn't work that way with gifts, right? It's like you start doing it, being it, and then you start realizing, oh, there's more, there's more. But a lot of people do not even start. They're saying, I want to become a healer, but they keep on saying it, working their job, but not actually stepping into that. And so, like, how do you clean that? Because we talked about clearing energy, and there's a lot of ways, and I'm always interested in what is your most effective way.
Right. So the great gift of accessing the Akashic records, working in the Akashic field, is that the Akash is part of source energy, which is, of course, part of the quantum field where there is no time and place and space. So we can move from here, this more third or fourth dimensional world that we're living in, into timelessness. And so it's, to me, then I teach this, it's simple to go outside of time, to go into other lifetimes and actually clear that pain, that trauma, and as well as reclaim all of those beautiful gifts that we've had over the last, most of us say 10,000 years here on the planet in this time of our being. And so the other thing I did when I wanted to write the book is I would open my records and I would say, show me a past life in which I could write with ease. And I would reclaim that energy from that lifetime where I was an author. I had fears around, I don't even know how to spell. I have no great language. I didn't study English very thoroughly when I was in school. So I had all sorts of weird little niggly excuses. So I just kept going back. Show me a lifetime where I was a published author. Show me a lifetime in which I wrote with ease. Show me a lifetime in which I had no blocks to writing, And so you can claim that which is blocking and then reclaim the gifts and talents and the lifetimes in which you've been and done that already with ease.
And so do you feel if you have a calling into something, you feel called, that there are past experience, that's why you actually feel called into it? So it's not like, well, this is the first time, where you actually have it, you have been experiencing this, you're just going for an expansion and a remembrance of what you already did and then activate it in bigger ways. Is that what you say? It's not, if you feel called, there's a reason for the calling, basically.
Absolutely. So I would say that it is part of your soul plan. That calling means that it's been written in your soul's plan. And you are feeling that, you are knowing that, you are remembering that. And so if you're called to write a book, I would almost guarantee that you have written numerous books in other lifetimes. Some of us have been scribes. I've seen past lives where I was a scribe in the ancient libraries of Alexandria. Some of us have been scribes in ancient Egypt in different, times and realms. And we've been monks. We've transcribed. We've written. We've been there, and even in some other kind of dimensional lifetimes where we have also been a scribe or worked in those sorts of realms.
What did you see for channels and healers? Because I love how you're expressing this is what I've seen, because obviously you go back to your own records, but also with people. So you probably also see past experiences, which are not general, of course, but which are more often being experienced in previous lifetimes on this planet or other planets. What do you see around for channels and healers?
Well, I think that what I find, kind of a variety of different things. For most healers, I find that we end up working on a lot of the trauma because we've had so much trauma in this last 1,000 years. And so that's one of the things that seems to be showing up in a big kind of way, is let's heal all of that trauma and work on reclaiming all those gifts you've had, because we've been healers in so many different kinds of ways. Some of us have been kind of doctors. Some of us have channeled Christ conscious energy and really been hands-on healers. So some of us have been acupuncturists and herbalists. So just a large variety. And then of course there's the galactic energy, which feels much more like bringing otherworldly, multidimensional tools to life now. And so I'll often see people who have brought those gifts. And sometimes it's interesting, they feel a little bit more lost and uncertain because no one else is doing that. Because no one taught them how to do that. How do they feel like, how do I say, I downloaded this healing process? Or, but the exciting thing is more and more and more people are stepping out and saying that and doing that. And like, it just came to me. And, it's other worlds, other lifetimes in other planes and dimensions.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. And like listening to this, I'm like thinking about my love. He is a medical doctor. And when he was 5, he was already, his pictures. He was like operating on teddy bears. Like, I was like, that was a pretty strong calling when he was 5. He always wanted to become a doctor. He knew, and so that's obviously, that was not the first time. He couldn't think about that. So it's like interesting. I always loved people. Like, I know I wanted to be around people and create harmony, like as a child already. So there's also, I think, keys, what you say is like, what do you do natural? And the beauty of the time we live in now is that like pretty extraordinary stuff gets downloaded for us right now. So that's really, really exciting.
I mean, it really is the time. This is when we can finally do what I've been trying to do for 60 years, right?
Yes.
I'm so excited, because I'm like, finally, we thought 2012, I was like, okay, yay. Oh, wait, that didn't quite work out the way I was expecting, there was a whole other crazy 9-year cycle. But yes, it really is energetically, because there's more light on earth than has been here in, I don't know, so many thousands and thousands of years that we can really access this. And, many people, like, I talk about being kind of born awake, where I was 3 years old and I realized I was trapped in a body. And many of the light workers who have come to help us transform at this time in history have those sorts of experiences, or early, maybe teenage or early 20s, those kinds of memories popping up. And often, if we ever said anything about it, people would think we were nuts, right? So there's a lot of the light workers, the healers, the multidimensional guides that have been hiding because 20, 40, 60 years ago, it kind of, most people weren't saying that was okay, or that there was anything normal about that, right? So it's time to come out now if you haven't yet.
Yeah, I said come out of the closet. Like, I remember that moment I started channeling in public. Oh, and then it was such a relief, because it's so easy to just be who you are, right? It's the most natural thing. And it's also, I think for me, it was the most scary thing and the most natural thing simultaneously. So it can be both. So it doesn't necessarily only needs to feel like exciting. It can also feel like, well, now it really matters. That I knew it really mattered. Like, I could feel that. Yeah. I know we can talk a lot more, and we will, but I also know you have something like prepared. So can you share a little bit more about that? About the activation meditation?
Yes. So what I would love to do is bring everybody into the Akash with me. And if you want, you just have to think yes. And we will open the group records. We will access, the way we do it is each of you can just think, I want to connect more fully with my own Akashic record keepers as we are creating, and I'm holding this energetic space for you. And then we can go through and clear some of these things we've talked about and reclaim some gifts. Okay.
Sounds like a great plan. I was already muted. I'm like, I'm ready.
Oh, okay.
Not to disturb with any sound.
Right. Okay. All right. So if you can just sit back and close your eyes for a few minutes. Just dropping down into our sacred heart center, inviting our sacred heart to open and expand a little bit further. And we ask the divine lords of unconditional love to help us center fully in this moment as we create this sacred space. Please wrap us in your love and protection and allow us to travel to the highest realms of the Akasha available to us today. Please help as we lay our multidimensional hearts open to divine love and release all resistance. Lords of the Akashic Record, please guide us to the deepest truth we can access now. Help us to release that which no longer serves on our true path as we become the new humans. And we give great thanks for your divine support on this journey today. So just allow yourself to feel the energy of the Akash surrounding you, bringing us all together into this perfect, divinely orchestrated group of beings. Whether you're listening now or on a replay, it doesn't matter. You're in this Akashic field with us. And you can invite your own Akashic record keepers to come more present for you now if you wish. We ask the record keepers to help us to clear and release emotional pain and trauma from any lifetime where we have died for our gifts, any lifetime that we have been hurt or harmed or locked away or sent away for sharing our multidimensional gifts, our visions, our sight, our channeling. So we just go through all time, space continuum, and we clear that emotional pain and trauma from everyone's records that is ready to let that go now. We clear the kind of physical pain from our bodies in other times and dimensions. And often that physical pain creates a block in our system, in our body now. So we're erasing, deleting that physical level of pain as well as the emotional levels of pain. As I'd mentioned before, we create space by releasing and deleting this emotional pain and trauma from these lifetimes. And there is now room to reclaim the energy, vibration, memory of those gifts that you held in that lifetime. And we want to bring those right here into our present physical body, this time-space continuum right here and right now. So you might feel it almost as a tingling in your crown chakra, or you may feel it in your body as it comes in and activates in your physical body. Good. And we ask our record keepers to help us to ground that down into the physical on a cellular level. Anchoring it into your body, your life, so that you can remember and activate that on a regular basis in your life now, really reactivating it in your soul plan so it can be more fully present in your life. Good. Bringing those multidimensional gifts of seeing, hearing, feeling, all of our clairs, all of our wisdom from other worlds also. I'm actually I've been seeing a lot of sacred geometry, kind of the energy of sacred geometry and sacred geometric patterns also dropping in, and it feels like it's very connected to kind of past lives and other dimensional healing gifts. So bringing that all in for whoever that goes to. Beautiful. Good. And then let's do another round around. We talked about writing books, and really being the true communicators that we are, so that we can communicate our wisdom in a bigger way, more fully, whether we're doing podcasts or summits or writing books or speaking, or doing our own sorts of healing groups, whatever it might be for you. We want to first clear any emotional pain and trauma, which is what creates our blocks. And so we go back into any and all of those lifetimes where we were ostracized for the books we were writing, for the sharing of our wisdom, for our communication. There are times where we were locked away or run out of town, sometimes killed again. Sometimes we're killed as traitors or locked away in insane asylums for being crazy. I'm seeing some lifetimes where we saw all of our books being burned. And those were days when it was hard to get a book or to handwrite books, right? So when one was burned, that was quite a trauma. So we're just clearing all of that emotional pain and trauma around losing our life's work, our books, being locked away or killed, or any other sort of trauma connected to us being communicators on a bigger level, or authors. Feels like there's quite a few people on the call who really, it's a very strong energy, who really haven't ever had this sort of work done around their wanting to write their book or share their wisdom or speak more about their gifts. And so there's multiple layers that we're clearing around that. And we ask our Akashic record keepers to fill us with our highest Akashic wisdom and light, as well as reclaiming those specific gifts of having written books, been authors, been out there speaking and sharing our gifts. Many of us traveled, walking from town to town to town, sharing our wisdom and our gifts in other lifetimes. Many of us actually had like big temples where we were part of a divine feminine goddess temple. There are some who in male form were also part of the ancient mystery schools and different types of temples where we were able to be the high priest or high priestess, some of that ancient Egypt, but many different kind of times and realms that I'm also seeing. And so we're reclaiming those gifts and talents, bringing them present into our physical bodies right here and right now, so we can access that wisdom, that energy, that gifts, or those multiple gifts that are coming in. So you may again feel it as a buzz in your crown chakra, or you might feel it as a tingle in your body, or I sometimes feel it almost like a cool wind swirling around, whatever it is, however that shows up for you. is always just perfect. And we're just lighting that up and of reawakening these gifts, these talents in our soul's plan, in our Akashic records. So we now remember that this is part of our plan. This is who we are and what we've come to do. And we know how to do it with ease and grace. So bringing all of that energy also of ease and grace and wisdom into our physical body, integrating it down into a cellular level, into our cellular levels of our body. And then there's a blueprint, a new energetic blueprint, which is coming in also, an updated, upgraded genetic blueprint. So you can live it more fully in this physical form. What the record keepers are saying is it's very important for us to embody these gifts and these desires, these memories physically, because that's how we can manifest it in this third or fourth or fifth dimensional planet world that we're living in. So it needs to embody in that cellular level, in this genetic blueprint of the body. So we're really activating the author, the communicator, the healer in that upgraded, updated blueprint. We'll just give that a minute to continue to activate and integrate into the physical form. And all the way down, really into our feet, as we connect again to Gaia beneath our feet, as we're grounding this fully consciously into physical form, grounding these gifts into this life now. Beautiful. Right, and there's a really beautiful energy just of love, that just pure unconditional love that I see spreading from everyone's heart out, filling their whole body, filling their energy field and auric field with this vibration of unconditional love, as that is truly part of who we are, and the gifts that we're coming to share is love. And we're letting that ripple out into the world, out into our communities and families, out into our world. Beautiful. And we thank our Akashic record keepers, all the beings of light who have assisted in doing this activation today. And we close and lock the group records and our personal records if we have them open. We'll lock all the records for now, for this moment, and we give great thanks. And so it is. Blessed be.
That was a lot of energy moving.
It was.
Could you feel it? It's like it was different, like we've done it before, but this was a lot of clearing energy, like massive. Could you feel that, or was it just me?
Oh no, I feel it too.
Yeah,
I'm like, and that's why sometimes it felt like many facets of the issues we were talking about. It was how I was speaking a little bit earlier about often when we do a healing, we kind of clear a layer and then we fill up with what we can receive. And then another time we clear a layer and then we fill up again. But this was like we were clearing, filling. We did a bunch of layers.
Yeah.
So.
You know what I saw? I saw myself in ancient Egypt, and I was sitting on, like I was carried, and I was like a priestess. I could feel that. And I felt very abundant, and simultaneously I saw a lot of suffering, and that felt really horrible. So after that, I decided not ever. And it's interesting to see how I actually operate on that level, how hard it is for me to really do that, because there's this thing, it's at the cost of others, and that part got cleared. So that was pretty big clearing happening. I'm like, oh, wow, of course, when that happened, you don't like that feeling if it's at the cost of people. That was really interesting to watch.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Thanks for sharing that, because interesting, it must be another layer kind of that's up in humanity, because I've been kind of looking at that myself this last week as we sometimes expand out in a bigger way out into the world. I catch myself being afraid of how that might affect other people around me, or, so yay, that starts to get cleared, because it's so important that we can step more fully all the time into our gifts and our talents, so that we can share them in a bigger way and really help transform humanity. And I know we're all here to do that in our ways.
Yeah. Beautiful comments. Do you see them or not? Could you see them?
Yes, I do.
This was a huge wave of energy for me. They were answered my questions about embedding. Wow, magical. I felt it big time, so powerful, so much cleared. My heart and my body, DNA, big clearing. Thank you. Thank you for this powerful. Beyond grateful, Lisa. Really incredible. I feel different, power and emotional. I was scanning hundreds of records. I mean, this is a lot. I felt it too. It was so beautiful, very emotional, felt multi-layered, profound. I mean, just for you to receive. Thank you so much. This was powerful. How beautiful question. Because I said we're gonna go into your offer and thing, but there's a question first. So let's do the question, and then also we're gonna go into your offer. So there is a question, what if, so special, a lot of it, but there's also a question, what if you didn't feel any clearing or didn't see anything? Does that mean anything?
Everyone receives information in different ways. And so I am personally more, I say clairvoyant, but my clairvoyance is really terrible. It needs glasses. So it's not like I see these lovely movies. I see these bad little old out of focus snapshots, right? It must have something to do with growing up with a family who took Polaroids. I don't know. Anyway, that's my version of clairvoyance. I am not physically sensitive as a rule. Over all of these years of doing healing, I can say I am more sensitive now than I've ever been. And that's over like 40 years of doing healing work. So it doesn't mean anything. It just depends on how we've accessed our gifts. And for many people, we receive information clairsentiently, which can be very subtle. It's not like buzzing in the body or anything like that. Some people experience that, but clairsentience, sometimes it's like something's a little different, but I don't know how to put it in words. Can be very, very subtle. So to me, I just always say, don't worry about whatever it is or isn't. And then we can just start to pay a little bit of attention to what happens later today or tomorrow, or, what may have shifted. Do you all of a sudden feel called to start to write a blog or write, journal? It could be very personal, or to maybe take a course to become a Reiki master, or to start to, often it's subtle if in the beginning. So we just have to meet ourselves where we are. The record keepers always say, we meet you where you are. Yeah. And that may be subtle in the beginning.
Also, another question is, what can we expect now we have received the activation? You already shared a little bit, but maybe.
Yep. Yes. So I would just start to kind of pay attention to what doors may be opening, what may be shifting for you. And so if you are one of the people who has been called to write a book or write more in some way or another, articles, or speak out, if you now feel like, oh, I can do that, it's a combination of feeling, oh, now I actually don't feel that thing that was stopping me, that nebulous, fear or block. Now I could do it. And then we need to move our feet, which means we actually need to do something in the physical. So if you're called to start to write and you're no longer scared, go buy yourself a nice journal and start to write and say, I'm going to write every day and see what I get at the end of 30 days. And so the record keepers are saying, notice what you're feeling and then take action, right? That's the big deal for us in this human plane. That's why they pay attention to bringing it into the physical and into the cellular level and getting us to kind of anchor it and ground it into our bodies, because we chose to be human because we wanted to experience it and live it in this plane dimension. And so we need to do that out in the world in some way or another, right? So whether we're taking a course or, we're starting to do some writing. I mean, those were the two things we were focusing on, but it's very possible that something else will have gotten cleared for you. And so you may decide that you want to start a podcast or, get on a podcast or join a group to learn how to, do something new. So it's really about taking action. And that's what these next 9 years are really about. And that is how we will truly step into being the new humans that we are now able to step into being.
I love it. And I see a question, but I first want to ask all about your free gift and your offer.
Yes. Yes. So free gift is a lovely guided visualization, which is the journey into the Akashic Records. So it's something that a lot of people like to do more than once, because in this guided visualization, we bathe in the river of forgiveness. We reclaim that energy of unconditional love. And we actually are able to go in and reclaim 3 gifts from other lifetimes. And so similar and different to what we just did, but you can do that on your own whenever you want by listening to the guided visualization, which of course has the Akashic record energy into it. And so that's the free gift, Journey into the Akashic Records. And then I am excited because I have my Learn to Access Your Own Akashic Record workshop coming up live starting next week, next Tuesday. So it's just a week away. It starts. It is 6 sessions in over 3 weeks. So we do it Tuesday and Wednesday for 3 weeks, so 2 hours each day. And in that program, and the fun thing is, this is the very first time I'm ever doing it on Zoom. So I'm really excited. It will be very live with me right there with you. And so I'm really excited about that. And so in this workshop, you will really learn to be guided by your own soul's wisdom when you learn to access the Akashic Records. So we will start to learn more about what your soul was planning before you embodied. We'll work on relationships, healing or releasing old past contracts, receiving that guidance so that you can make new decisions in your life. When you're stuck at a crossroads and you're like, I don't know if I should do this or do that, your Akashic record and your soul's plan is the place to go ask those questions. We work on healing, childhood trauma, hidden blocks, emotional pain, all those things that are stopping us, and releasing unproductive patterns and unconscious fears that have been holding us back. All of that is available to you as you start to learn to access your Akashic records. And so in the program, there are 6, I apologize, the page says 7 2-hour calls, but it's actually just 6. We do that over 3 weeks, and you will have a downloadable manual so you can follow along on the live calls. You'll be able to ask questions and share the information you're getting. We will have slides so you can also read along, because I know a lot of people are less, auditory learners and more visual learners. So we do both, me talking a lot and lots to read. And again, that's 45-page manual or so that you can follow along. There will be replays on every one of them. We'll be posting the full video for you to watch if you miss one. Or I know some of the listeners may be in Europe and the timing is not so great for Europe right now, but you can still join us and email me your questions, and you would just watch that next morning after it was, kind of live during the middle of your night if you're in Europe. Anyway, it's 4:30 California time, 4:30 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, which is sometime probably around 3 or 4 a.m. in Europe. But it's perfect also for Australia and New Zealand, you find, if you're living there. So wonderful live, just learning to access your own Akashic records so you can be divinely guided, because it's your birthright. That's what the record keepers always tell us. This is your birthright, and they want us all to have access to our own soul's plan and Akashic wisdom.
Thank you. It's so good. I know people have been doing this. They loved it a lot. So I know, because it's fantastic if you can do this yourself, right? We were guided by you, but then you can actually have own conversations, right? It's pretty spectacular. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You learn to, I give you my 5-step wisdom prayer system that the Akashic Masters gave me many, many, many years ago now. And they said, we want to make it easy. So here's a 5-step wisdom prayer system. I teach you a vibrational key, which is an access prayer to open the Akash. And interesting, I'll have to make a photo of this. I was playing with a new headband that reads your brain waves the other day. And so I was sitting there kind of trying to meditate, which has never really been my strongest suit. So I always say, you don't have to meditate to access your Akashic records. And so it was kind of in neutral, which is kind of this yellow, just neutral. I was watching my breath. I was doing my TM mantra. I was seriously trying all these things, nothing. I was kind of stuck in neutral. I was like, I'm just going to open my records. And I literally, the minute I started to say the access prayer, it jumped into blue immediately and stayed there. So it went into calm and the high energy that they're trying to immediately. It was, I have to say, it was kind of weirdly mind-blowing for me how instantaneous it was. It was like I said one sentence and I was like, bang.
There.
After 20 minutes of like trying every meditative process, I know.
It is spectacular. So go enjoy. The free gift is probably not in the page yet, right, Lisa? So we're going to add that. Okay. So if you want her free gift, be patient with us. Lisa's going to send us the link. We're going to add it to the offer page. So you will have it tomorrow or the other day. You can just click on her and then you will see it. If you don't see it now, it's because of that, because we don't have it yet. Or do you have it already?
I just got it.
Yeah, we asked her team to actually create the link. So
yeah.
if you can share it here already.
Yeah.
Johanna, can you copy paste it, the link? Yeah.
Yep. Okay, here, let me just.
So then you can have like, this is fresh. It's freshly made.
Okay.
So there you go. So you can go into that. Signing up now. Oh, great, Deb. Enjoy. Really good. Yeah, enjoy. We can see you. I can see Deb in the first part. I can see you. You're right in front of me. Oh, so fun. Anyway, last, like I love to shower. Lisa with love. So say some thank yous and everything you learned, right? In the chat. I so love this. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, this session was so inspiring. It was a really good last session because it was inspiring yet graceful. Yeah, it was so cool today. I mean, that's nice, right? That's
I
nice.
love that.
And so I will see you all tomorrow again, noon, Amsterdam. I'm looking forward to that, to continue our journey. We're like halfway through now, so we still have 2 days. I will invite Lisa for sure again, because we love to connect and co-create. And so thank you so much for being here, Lisa. I love it. I love what you give. You're so generous in everything. I mean, it really makes an impact. So thank you so much. Thank you. I really love it. And let's unmute everyone, because Lisa was unable to talk because she was muted. Now you can too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.